Hey everyone, it's Kim, and this is the latest edition of Ask Kim, a place where anyone could send a question in to askkim@themarriageplace.com, and I will do my best to give an answer. I've got a question here from someone who says, how do you keep hope when your husband is gone for 2 weeks and refuses to talk to you? How do you not go crazy? How do you go about life as normal when your heart is breaking? Yeah, that's tough. How do you go 2 weeks without talking to your husband? This is so vague. The question doesn't give me enough information to really answer it because there's so many things that could be happening here. But I'm going to give it a shot. I'm having to make up reasons why your husband has just walked out for 2 weeks. And I can only make up a few, which is he's having an affair and he's done. He is so conflict avoidant that he'd rather disappear than stay and deal with it. Maybe you've done something that he felt like was so offensive that he feels like he needs space. Or he's extremely immature and this is the only way he knows how to deal with anything. Any of those would be a problem, but I would have different answers, I think, for all of them. The first thing I want you to know is we can spend a lot of time talking about him, but I think we need to talk about you and the relationship. If this is a pattern, something he does frequently or has done before, I would set a really hard limit on this. I would change the locks on the door, and when he comes back, he would have to have a good explanation for this and some therapy. Like, we're doing this, we're going to therapy. I'm not going to live like this anymore. And if this is odd behavior, I'd really get curious to know what has happened that he's doing this. But when I see this kind of thing happening, where people are walking out or hiding, manipulating, creating a lot of drama, that it's usually a relationship issue. And what I mean by that is, it's not like this guy just all of a sudden woke up one day and decided, hey, I'm just going to walk out of here. There's something going on between the dynamic between the two of you. And I would want you to go see a therapist to figure out what part of this is you. Not because you're to blame, because you're not, but it's a systemic thing. It's just not about one person. It's about both of you. When one of you does a dance, the other one has to dance too or stop dancing. That creates a lot of chaos and drama. And if that's something that's going on in this relationship frequently, where there's a lot of fighting, a lot of anger, a lot of emotional abuse, what he's doing right now is emotionally abusive. I would want to know what you're doing to help perpetuate the cycle. That may be just as much as you're also having some temper tantrums or doing some things that are really unhealthy or helpful, or it could just mean you're putting up with it. I would want to know what part of this is your energy behind keeping this dynamic going. And the only way to do that is for you to go see a therapist. Just go without him. You don't need him to figure out part of this relationship cycle. Before you can even have a healthy relationship with this guy, you're both going to need some skills. You can't control whether or not he's going to participate in that, but you can control you. I really want you to look into getting some help with that. You asked about how to control your anxiety, how to keep from going crazy. It's tough because when somebody walks out, you have a lot of questions. Is he going to come back? When's he going to come back? Maybe he's contributing financially. Is that going to continue? Do you need to sell the house? Are there kids involved? What is going on? There's so much here that could possibly be part of this dynamic. The only thing I can say with this little information is that you're going to have to be responsible for taking care of yourself and your kids if you have them there. That means figuring out where you're dependent on this person, financially, childcare wise, duties wise, and how you can start to create a life that's not so dependent on him to show up and do his part. Then when he does this, if you stay and he does this kind of stuff, then you're not put through the ringer every time. I also think you need to start the grieving process of being in a relationship that's not going well and is not in a healthy place. Again, that's help with a therapist. We get so anxious when we don't know the outcome and we try really hard to control an outcome that we have no control over. Your anxiety starts to subside when you take control of the things that you can take control of. And you're just not tossed to the wind at every whim that this guy has. You said, how do I go on like life is normal? You don't, because life is not normal. But it's up to you to create a new normal. The new normal may be, I'm going to stay put here and give this a little bit to see what happens if he's going to come back. My guess is he probably will. And how are we going to move forward from here? I would not sweep it under the rug. I would not let this be okay. I would not ignore it and hope that it never happens again. This is a big deal, and it's a breach of confidence and trust and a betrayal. It's not okay. The other thing is, when you're that desperate and anxious, you tend to want to, in desperation, reach out multiple times, maybe multiple times in an hour. Where are you? Why won't you talk to me? When are you coming back? I love you so much. Don't you know I love you? How could you do this to us? Don't do any of that, because one, it never really works. And if anything, it makes things harder and worse for you, because nobody likes to feel like they're being held on to so tightly. The more you hold on, the more he's going to want distance. So I would stop any kind of pursuit behavior and start figuring out how to build a life that's a new normal for you. I'm guessing this is a manipulation ploy. You've done or said something he didn't like, and he is going to get you in line. But again, these are just guesses because I don't have enough information. Whatever's going on, for him to do something like this, you have a really big relationship problem. That's what you're going to have to get some help figuring out what it is and what your part is in it. Again, not that it's your fault. It's just that you cannot be in a relationship with someone who is behaving like this and not have some part of it that you are either encouraging, putting up with, dealing with, being in this place of not knowing what to do and feeling so out of control and so hurt and lost is part of what's making you feel like you're about to lose your mind. Try to get as much concrete under your feet as possible, some stability. And that means starting to heal what's going on in you. You can't control this guy. You can't control what he's going to do. I'm sorry you're going through this. I think it's horrible and it's emotionally abusive. All right, guys, so that's it for today's Ask Him. If you like it, I hope that you'll hit like on the video and click subscribe. That's what helps us to stay relevant and produce new content for you. All right, until next time.